right, so welcome once again to Medent tutorial. This is part 2 of Krok 1 2019 booklet. Unfortunately, this is biology based. If you're new, you might want to consider subscribing. And of course, do turn the post notification bell so you don't miss anything that we post on this channel. All right, let's not waste much time. Let's begin right away. So a young man has come to the genetic consultation. He complains of abnormalities in his physical and reproductive development. Don't forget, guys, young man. Okay, microscopy of his oral mucosal cell shows one bar body. A man with a bar body. Don't forget, the genotype of a man is XY. So to have one bar body, it means XXY. So what karyotype is the most likely in this young man? So again, of course, what then is bar body? Let's just do some small study. So a bar body is simply an inactive X chromosome, or X chromatin, And in a female or in a normal female, we have XX. And this XX, one is active, one is inactive. So one is active, one is inactive. And in a male, which is XY, you have no bar body. You have no bar body. So for them to see that there is a bar body, then we are thinking of what? XXY as the karyotype, And this disease is actually called Klinefelter syndrome or Klinefelter disease. So over here, we are looking at 47XXY. Now, 45XO is simply what? Turner syndrome. So please take note of some of these stuff. All right. Now, the mother's karyotype has 45 chromosomes. It was determined that the translocation of chromosome 21 to 14 had occurred. What disorder is likely to be observed in the child of this woman if the father's karyotype is normal? So there's actually a translocation from 14 to chromosome 21. So this is actually what? A trisomy or trisomy 21. And trisomy 21 is also called, of course, Down syndrome. Trisomy 21 is also called a Down syndrome. That's over here. We are looking at Down syndrome. So A will be our answer. Don't forget what Klinefelter syndrome is, Edwards syndrome is, Patau syndrome is. We've discussed them in some of the bases that we did. So please do well to check them up, especially on the biology base. So do well to check them up. All right. So let's move. During regular examination of school children, a scrape from the perianal folds. This is very common because we talk about it all the time. And in the basis, we've talked about this like million times. So of course, you are thinking of what? Enterobiasis. Don't always forget scrape from the perianal folds. Take note. A young woman, a foreign student from Tehran, has made an appointment with the urologist. She complains of sensation of heaviness in her lower abdomen and a small amount of blood being excreted with the urine at the end of each urination. Microscope of the urine detects the presence of Parasite X. Guys, so they're going to describe the X or the parasitic X or the Parasite X for us. Okay, so this is the size, and then it has a terminal spike. What diagnosis can be made? So this is your clue. The size and the presence of a terminal spike is telling that we are having what? schistosomiasis. Very, very common in Ghana. Very, very common in Ghana. So schistosomiasis is actually, another name is called snail fever or bilharzia. And this is, of course, one of the types of what parasitic flatworms, or one of the cause of parasitic flatworms, basically. All right. Now, this can normally affect the urinary system or the small intestine. Or let me just say intestine in general, let me not say small, but intestine in general. So it can be the urinary tract or the intestine. So some species affect the intestines, other species affect the urinary tract. And of course, do more research on it, but we have the Schistosoma mansoni, Schistosoma japonicum. Basically, these one affect the GIT. Then we can talk about the hematobiome, hematobiome. That one affects the urinary tract. So in this question, we are actually referring to the hematobiome type of schistosomiasis that is affecting this young woman. So over here, our answer would definitely be be schistosomiasis. All right. Now when we say spike, we are trying to refer to a sharp point. Okay, sharp point. The egg has a sharp point, basically. All right. So don't forget to subscribe if you are new, like if you are enjoying it, and share. Support this thing that we are trying to do. Okay, support. And again, you can get more of these things on the Medent website, and I'll put a link in the description for you so that you can just check it out when we are done. All right. Cells of a person working in the conobule exclusion zone has undergone a mutation in the DNA molecule. God, there's a mutation. However, with time, the damaged interval of the DNA molecule has been restored. So even though there was a mismatch or there was a problem in the DNA molecule, it has been restored. So what process has taken place, or what enzyme happened, or what enzyme played a role in this kind of restoration of the DNA molecule? So basically, we are talking about this is what we call the DNA repair. The DNA repair. So basically, usually what the DNA does is that it corrects itself. But when it's unable to correct itself, that's when we now have the mutations in the person's life. But usually, the body itself or the genes itself try to repair, the DNA try to repair itself from any mismatch or for any abnormalities and things like that. All right. So your answer is E, repair. So a man is a carrier of HIV that is an RNA virus. The cells of this patient synthesize viral DNA. This process is based on, again, we have done something like this in our previous basis. Okay. So over here, you are synthesizing what? DNA from RNA. How is it called? Synthesis of DNA from RNA. This is simply called what? A reverse transcription. Through the use of what we call a reverse transcriptase, or the enzyme reverse transcriptase. So over here, we are synthesizing DNA from RNA. So over here, we are having what? A reverse. So A is our answer. If it is synthesizing RNA from DNA, that is called transcription. So the opposite is true. All right. So the parents with normal hearing have 2 daughters and a son who are congenitally deaf. Their other 5 children are healthy. What is the pattern of deafness inheritance in this case? So for them to tell us that the parents are fine, again, it tells you that this might not be from the mother or from the father directly, of course, but it could be an autosomal disease. So this has got nothing to do with the X or the Y chromosome, because they're telling us that 2 daughters are sick, and then one son is also sick. So this has got really nothing to do with whether it is the X or it is the Y link, isn't it? So sex chromosome, sex linked disease is out of this question completely. So over here, we are not dealing with autosomal disease, autosomal disease. That means any other chromosome apart from the sex chromosome. And don't forget, we have 22 pair of chromosomes. These are the autosomal chromosome, and then 1 pair of how do you call it? Sex chromosomes. Sex chromosomes. Very good. All right. So now we have established that this is nothing to do with what the sex, isn't it? So it is neither X nor Y, because both children are being affected more or less equally. Now, they have other children, 5 other children who are healthy. Again, that comes on to buttress what we are trying to put across. So what then could it be? So this is definitely what we call autosomal recessive. Autosomal recessive. Now, when we say something is recessive, it means you need the presence of 2 of it for it to start showing. Now, if it is autosomal dominant, all children will have it. Even if you have 1 in your chromosome, you will have it. But no, this is not the case. So in this case, we are having situation whereby 2 of the alleles, we call them alleles, 2 of the alleles are present in them. That is why they are now showing the effect of the deafness, or now we can say this person is deaf. All right. So that is the case we are having in this question. So over here, we are dealing with autosomal recessive. Autosomal recessive. Autosomal recessive. Autosomal recessive. All right. I'm planning on doing some lectures on some of these things, or a full course on some of these things. So let me know if you really would like me to do that. Maybe not necessarily for Krok, but for people to learn even in 4th year, 5th year, and stuff like that. You need to know some of these things, how to do the crossing, how to understand recessive, dominant, and all of those things. All right. Not just this topic, but other topics as well. So let me know if you are interested in something like that. Okay. All right. So ingestion of plants and fungi that grow along the highways is dangerous due to the high risk of lead poisoning. Right, so highway, so you ask yourself, on the highway, what happens on the highway? This is a road that is free moving. So vehicles are moving to and fro. Vehicles are moving to and fro. And don't forget that vehicles are, they have a lot of exhaust fumes. And these exhaust fumes contain some level of what? Of lead. Because some of their fuels contain some lead addictive so that it can help the fuel, or it can power whatever vehicle we are using, isn't it? So so when these plants and fungi are situated over there, what it means that all those exhaust fumes, which contains those lead or those chemicals, can affect the plants and the fungi. So when we ingest it or when we take them in, it can lead to what? Lead poisoning. So the question is, what is the main source of the environmental pollution with this chemical element? And of course, you are thinking of what? The exhaust fumes. The exhaust fumes. So your answer is A, exhaust fumes. All right. Once again, do well to get your hands on our Medent website and solve all these questions with explanations. Solve them with explanations, okay? And practice the pre-Krok that are there for you. And then in the pre-Krok, it helps you to know your timing because it is time-bound, and it assesses you if you have really understood all the things that we are talking about and even what we explain on the website under each question. Okay, so please try and get, and I'll put a link in the description box, and then later on you can check it up and follow it up. All right. Now, long-term taking of medicines can affect the cells of the liver. Long-term, of course. Particularly, it can cause a marked hypertrophy of a granular endoplasmic reticulum due to the following functions of this organelle. Due to the following functions of this organelle. So, of course, generally, we know that the liver is involved in what? In detoxification of harmful substances. Detoxification, because if you take in a lot of long-term taking of medicines, like any drugs, the liver has to work hard to get those harmful substances out of the body. And that is called detoxification of harmful what? Substances. So the question is, what is the role of this agranular endoplasmic reticulum? And the role is what? Detoxification of harmful substances, and especially inside the liver or hepatocyte. And that's why over here we are looking at what? At D as our answer. D as our answer. Dwellers of a village located in the taiga make a living by harvesting berries. Lately, the occurrence of alviococcus, alviococcus, you will stop laughing at me, in the village population has increased. What is the source of invasion of this case? Invasion of this case. So this is definitely what we call Aviola echinococcus. Aviola echinococcus. Echinococcus. That's basically it. And this is just what? A parasitic disease of a tapeworm. It's a parasitic disease of a tapeworm. Okay. And they are commonly infected by animals, which include dogs, foxes, and wolves. Dogs, foxes, and wolves. So these are one of the major animals that can get infected, by which, if care is not taken, we might also get sick with it. So over here, we are definitely looking at the source of invasion, the source. So the source of invasion, we are talking about what? The foxes. Of course, it can also be dog. It can also be what? Be wolves. It can also be wolves. So over here, our best answer will be what? Foxes. So your answer here is C. Your answer here is C. All right, so guys, so this brings us to the end of Biology Base in 2019 booklet. 2019 booklet. So if you enjoyed it, just give a thumbs up and then let me know what you think about the video in the comment section. Until then, see you later.